Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about a difficult subject for some of you. Hopefully you never find yourself in this situation, but if you do, make sure you're checking out watching this video, because honestly, it is it's important that you don't, all is not lost. We're going to talk about those things. Okay, so we're going to talk about how you can revive a failing business. Again, this isn't easy to talk about. Why? Because there's a lot of emotion that's attached with a business. You've sunk hours and days and sweat and tears and anger and frustration and happy and elation. And so there's an attachment that goes with most businesses. It's not just about earning an income. It's about being satisfied with what you're doing. All right. Well, before we get into that, if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help you create the business of your dreams. So welcome. I go live Monday through Friday, except for holidays and unfortunately when I get sick. But if you need anything, feel free to reach out to me. My website is thinklegalpc.com. Please let me know how I can help you. So first of all, before you go down the rabbit hole of your business is failing, you need to kind of do a little check. You need to look at your numbers and you need to see why is it failing, okay? Because if you don't know why something is happening, you can't fix what is happening. So it's going to take a bit of introspection, if you will. If you haven't been paying attention to some of these things because you've been kind of going on a wing and a prayer, which is a lot of entrepreneurs, it's not a judgment, it's a fact, then this is going to take the time that you need to do what I'm about to tell you. First of all, why did you run out of? Sorry, why is your business failing? No, the number one cause is, did you run out of money? That's straight up. Number two, there may be no market need for it. Okay. Number three, unfortunately, competition can beat you. So have they beat you? Are they able to do something better, faster, more efficient? So their bottom line is different. You need to evaluate these things because only you'll know these details. Okay, so that's number three. Number four is your business model flawed? Okay. Prior to Uber and Lyft, no one would have said, use your cars to drive around perfect strangers. That probably would have failed in the 90s. Just a hunch. Because it would have been way before its time with mobile phones and the mobile society that we're in, so on and so forth. So is your business model itself flawed? And again, these are things that you need to evaluate for yourself. I can't do it for you. But the most common reason is because you ran out of money. And that isn't to say that, and that's probably, it's both the most frustrating but easiest to fix. So if you ran out of money, then the obvious and easy solution is get more money. And I know that that's like, well, duh, if I didn't have that problem, I wouldn't be going out of business or I wouldn't be failing right now. Okay. So, but because that's such an obvious solution, the other ones, if there's no market need, that's a bigger problem, right? You're either before your time or after your time, or it's never your time. So fixing market need, you can't create a market that's not there. It's not possible. There's too many other people that are deciding what they want to buy or whether they want to buy it at all, right? So if there's no market need for what you're offering, that one we can't fix very easy. Are you beaten by the competition? We can fix that. That one's fixable. We can take a look at those details and say, let's see what we can do to make you more competitive. Okay? The flawed business model, That's, again, another one very difficult to fix. Not impossible, but difficult. Can you modify your business model to meet the current trends of today? And in some instances, that's a yes. In some instances, that's a no. And you'll need to evaluate those things. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at these are the most common reasons, that doesn't mean there aren't other reasons why your business might be failing, okay? It might, people get sick, people die, there's disputes between partners. There's all sorts of other reasons. I'm talking about these are the most common. There are other reasons why businesses fail. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at these details, and again, you need to look at these, you need to be honest with yourself, you need to be honest with others. The next thing you need to do is adjust your mindset. Okay? You need to take a look at at how you're looking at your problems. Low energy creates problems. Okay? So your mindset might be the cause of your lack of money, your being beaten by the competition. Your mindset might be the cause of all of these things. And so changing your mindset. Also, if you're in the failure mode, it gets easy. It gets so easy to look at it and go, I'm a failure. I'm terrible. I'm bad. And then that creates a downward spiral, right? So if you can turn your mindset from I'm failure, I'm bad, my business is failing, I don't know what I'm going to do to, okay, I'm struggling right now. My business is not dead. I just need to find a way to revive it. And a lot of times it goes back to basics. What do you do well? And we'll talk about that in a second. So the next thing is you need to set some goals, set some realistic goals. And I don't necessarily mean realistic in I'm only going to earn this much next month. No, you need to set realistic goals to get you out of where you're at. That's what I mean by realistic. Okay. Set big goals, set big energy things. You will find that your energy and the things that happen with you and to you will match that energy. So if you're thinking big energy goals, okay, look, I learned my lesson here. I made a mistake. Okay, move on, right? Like you learned from that mistake. Now package that energy and pull forward. Set your goals. Set your big, realistic goals. Big, hairy, audacious goals. There's some of the people that talk about it. Okay, that's the next part. Because if you don't know the hole that you're in and you don't know where you're going, then you're not going to get there. Because you could be doing this instead of going straight. Okay? So setting your goals. The next thing is you need to learn why your clients are either or customers are not either hiring you or why they're leaving you. If there's something there's a disconnect, you're dropping the ball on things, if there's something that's causing them to leave, you need to nip that in the bud. If you have employees that are causing difficulty between you and your clients, then you need to address those things, right? And I'm not saying it's all their fault. It's as is true. If you're the owner, it comes back to you. It's your fault because you weren't training them right. You weren't watching things correctly, but you need to learn why customers or clients are leaving or not buying, right? And this is a difficult thing. This isn't something that's easy. Because it might just be, and unfortunately, it might be that they just don't have the money at this point because money's tight. So it might not have anything to do with you. It might not have anything to do with your business. It might just be that they don't have money for your service or product at this point. Okay. Next, you're going to want to get back to basics. What is your target audience? I see this happening, especially with big companies, where they start trying to be too many things to too many people. Okay, I'll give you a great example. The difference between McDonald's and In-N-Out hamburger, right? In-N-Out, their menu is very, very simple. Yes, they have a secondary hidden menu, which has a lot of delicious options, but their menu is so basic and so simple. Their basic menu, that's all they do. They do it well, and they keep doing it. McDonald's used to only be hamburgers, right? Hamburgers and cheeseburgers. And then they started McCafe and all of these different things that aren't necessarily their target demographics. And now they kind of do everything not that great. That's why they're McDonald's. You don't go to McDonald's because it's the best food in the entire world that you've ever had. You go to McDonald's because it's fast, cheap. That's it. That's why you go. It's why you go to Walmart. You go to Walmart because they're cheap and you can get in and out, except for their self-service lines. But I digress. My point is that you need to reevaluate. Are you trying to do too many things for too many people? Go back to basics. Focus on one thing that you do well and that you can be as competitive as humanly possible at. If you can beat other people on one thing, you're not in the hole, right? So understanding your target audience, because now you're going to narrow your focus. You're going to stop expending resources on things that aren't helping you. A lot of times, don't be McDonald's. I mean, yes, McDonald's is McDonald's, but I'm talking like when you're in this mode, I'm talking about not being McDonald's. A lot of companies try to expand way too fast, way too quickly, and end up in a bad situation because they don't have the money to support it. They don't have the client or customer base to support it. I'll give you a great example: Krispy Kreme. They were an East Coast a donut company, and they expanded very rapidly, especially to the West Coast. And in San Diego specifically, they opened a ton of stores very short after each other. The problem was the market wasn't supporting that. And so they ended up having closed several of those stores that they had quickly opened because it couldn't sustain it, because they hadn't built a base with the clients yet. They hadn't built a base in San Diego. And so now there's like 1 or 2 stores instead of the 5 or 6 that were out in here. So you want to focus on the target audience. Focus on who you are. Get back to those basics. If you're offering too many things to too many people, that's going to hurt. It's because you can't sustain that, especially if you're trying to come back from, unfortunately, a failure. Okay? So the next thing you're going to want to do is this, and this is probably not the most important, but it's going to give you the catalyst to move forward with it. And this is perform a SWOT analysis. Where are you now versus where were you? Okay? And where do you want to go? Take that SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is a great time to do that. What are your strengths? What do you do better than anybody else? What are your weaknesses? Be honest. Be honest with yourself. Everybody has them. Okay? If you want to get out of the hole, if you want to get out of failing, you're going to need to work on your strengths. You're going to have to improve your strengths, decrease your weaknesses, look for those opportunities, and avoid those threats, and be cognizant of those threats. You're going to want to take a look at those threats and go, okay, this is what we need to be on the lookout. But the way you're going to get the money the fastest, right? Like if that's your problem, is to focus on your strengths. What is it that you do better than anybody else? What do you love to do that you do better than anybody else, right? That's your strengths. Those are your strengths. Those are the things that get you up in the morning. That's going to make you feel better about your job and your life right now, because you're in a difficult spot, and now is not the time to be worried about things that are hurting you. And so your weaknesses are going to be harder to look at, right? Because those are going to cause those inner conflict, that inner turmoil that goes with that real self-evaluation as a human being. So, but you need to be aware of them. Okay, that doesn't mean you have to focus on them, but for now, focus on those strengths. Get with those strengths and start pushing those better and forward and faster. Forget about everything else. The number one goal at this point, especially if money is the problem, is focus on income generating activities. What is it that you can get money as quickly as humanly possible? That's legal. Sorry, I have to do that disclaimer. What's legal? Focus on that. The very first thing. If that means making phone calls to former clients, former customers, or sending out an email blast of things, that's what you're going to do. You're going to focus on that. And you're going to notify them. Let them know that you are refocusing. Hey, we got a little off track. I'm sorry, our goals and what we were trying to do, they didn't align. They didn't work. Here, we're back. Okay, let's do this. Let's be excited. Okay. Next, this one is important because most businesses struggle with this. Take a hard look at your finances. Everybody has them. Money in, money out. Can you cut your expenses? Is there things that you can do to reduce how much it costs for you to do business without, this is the key, without sacrificing the service that people have come to know and love about you? Okay. You don't want to cut off things to the point where it hurts you, right? You want to cut the fluff. A lot of businesses start out thinking this and then they get fluffy. Not to Gabriel Iglesias, if you're listening, Fluffy is awesome. I love his comedy. Love to have you on the show if you by chance ever come across this video, which I doubt it, but that would be awesome. Anyway, Gabriel Iglesias is hilarious and his nickname is Fluffy. But we as business owners, we get fluff. Like there's things that start creeping in. We have expenses that creep in that are nice expenses, but they're not necessary expenses. And so you need to start going back to and saying, okay, let's get to the necessary expenses so that we can be successful. And that's going to take some time, but you need to honestly look at your finances. Look at those numbers that you need to succeed and be successful. Okay. You know, there's the next one, number 8, is get funding if you need it. If you can qualify for loans and things to help you get out of this hole that you're in or this where you're at, then make sure you're doing it. You know, as business owners, it's difficult because you don't know where your next dollar is going to come from. But I'll tell you, nobody has ever saved their way out of the bottom. It's true because you can't afford to market. And if you can't afford to market, then how do people know you exist? How are people going to hire you? So if you need funding, get it. Get the funding for your business. Okay, if you can. I mean, some people can, some people can't. I'm not going to say you have to. But, you know, don't go loan shark avenue. I mean, yeah, you might have to pay extra for the capital. But at the end of the day, get yourself out of the hole first. Worry about these details to push forward. Okay. If none of this is working, if you're still struggling, if there's still things that aren't working and you can't make it work with what you've got, right? The fastest way is going to work with what you've got. Then, as I've said multiple times, the best thing you have going for you as a business owner is, especially a small business, is your ability to pivot when things are going wrong. You have the power. You can make your mind up in a day to change directions if you need to. It can be fast. It doesn't have to be painful. Your ego might have to be put aside. You might have to focus on something else, but getting out of where you're at temporarily, and maybe you move something temporarily and come back. Maybe you put it on the shelf for a little bit and say, you know what, I'm going to focus on something else while I figure this out. Because unfortunately, bills, they keep coming and they don't care most of the time about whether you can afford to pay them or not. So if you need to pivot and change directions, then do that, right? Maybe it's just not the right time, because sometimes that's a factor, like during the pandemic, during quarantine, right? Like there were businesses that could not operate during quarantine. So when you put it in, you know, it's like, okay, so if you can put that on the shelf for that little bit, then you come back after quarantine, after the pandemic, and you go, oh, here it is right here, ready, waiting for me to pick it back up again. Okay. All right, that's number 9. Number 10. Number 10 is to invest in marketing. There's not a single business alive that can live without marketing. And I'm not saying to waste money on marketing. Okay. Take your time, do your right, do the things that need to be done, but invest in your marketing. Get that money and start putting it into marketing. Okay, get that funding and put it into marketing. Last and certainly not least, and this is probably one of the most important parts. This is the most important. This is the most, absolutely. When you're struggling, all you can seem to see is the negative, the things, the bad stuff that's happening. And because, like I was saying, it's a mindset thing. You need to get out of that mindset into a more positive avenue. But part of that is you get overloaded. Our bodies, our minds, we get inundated with thousands of choices every day. And when things are not going the way that you want them to go, then all of a sudden you feel like things just aren't ever going to change. Because while they could, they haven't. So, the universe, okay. By the way, there's an author by the name of Jen Sincero who has some amazing books about mindset and change and whatnot. But the universe, and this she talks about this, likes action. Okay? So go out there and start making choices. Start doing things that the universe can reward you with, right? If you're not a fan of picking up the phone to call people and whatnot, do it anyway. Do it. Dial for dollars if you have to, if that's in your thing. Like, obviously, if that's not how it works, don't do it. But I'm saying, like, if you have former clients, if you have current clients, if you have current customers, if you have ways of pulling people in, offer a sale, right? Something that you don't do normally. Offer an opportunity for others to benefit from you financially. Cut them a break. Maybe the economy's bad, but they still want your services. And so they can afford you at a lower price point temporarily, and a sale gives you that option. I'm not a generally big fan of sales because to me it devalues work. But in some instances, if you're failing, a sale is a better option than going out of business entirely, right? I mean, one of my favorite characters, a show called Suits, look it up, great show. Not realistic, by the way, don't think it is. Show Suits, one of the main characters says, if your back's against the wall, then you break the wall down, right? Like, start doing something different than what you've been doing until you can figure out how to move forward, all right? But that means taking action. That means doing the work. You have to do the work. You have to take the action. It has to be something that you're pushing forward. Remember I talked about income-producing action, right? If you're dialing for dollars, if you're asking people for help, hey, I'm running a sale right now on this service that I offer. Or, hey, I'm offering a discount on my rate in this instance. I don't know. You know. But these are all ways that you can move forward and keep that going. Cut costs, increase income, cut the fluff, as I said, pivot and change. Go out and get some money, get some equity if you need it, get some loans, whatever you need to keep moving forward. The most successful businesses, the most successful people in the world are the ones that keep moving forward, even when it's hard. Right now, it's hard. That's okay, though. I was reading an article that said you've gotten through 100% of your bad days. Every single obstacle that you have faced in your life, you have made it through. And this isn't to pat you on the back. This isn't to say, but you can get through this too. It does not have to define you. It does not have to ruin you. It does not have to make you feel bad. Okay? Businesses fail. And that has nothing to do with you some days. Some days it does. I'll be honest with you. All right, well, that's it. Don't forget, if you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to subscribe and like. And know we go live Monday through Friday at 11. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Bye. Look at that. There's a subscribe. Bye.